Hey guys, how are you? Happy Friday afternoon. What's going on? Okay, I had to fix that noise problem. I had a double noise happening in my ear. Okay, waiting patiently. I'm sorry, guys. I'm on afternoon pickup, so we literally just got home. I left the house later. You don't want to hear my troubles anyway. I left the house a little later because the dogs, of course, as I'm walking out the door, want to go outside for a minute. And so that put me behind at the end of the car pickup line. And normally I'm like middle to front. I'm like in the first quarter of people. I was in the last quarter. So anyway, we just got home like 30 minutes ago and I had to make a snack. And then the girls needed to go back out and then I needed to check in with my daughter, make sure she's good. And because that's just how I do. So thank you guys for being so patient. You guys are awesome. I found some interesting stuff to talk about today. We're still on Shirley and Nesto. We are going to continue with Shirley and Nesto. That's not going to stop, but there are some other stories, obviously, to talk about that I do want to start to incorporate. But I've been having to do like a little bit of my research to make sure that I'm like, obviously, I'm not going to be an expert, but I do like to kind of know a little bit of my subject matter before we like jump into it. Um, Pickup line horror. You know what? I waited my whole life. I'm only got one kid, so I waited my whole life to be a mom and I love it and I'm so grateful I get to be a stay-at-home mom now because um, you know, everyone would leave the house at the same time. My husband always left like an hour before, but um, I used to have to drop her off at before school, pick her up from after school because I was working all day. And then, the pandemic kind of changed everything for me. I started doing work from home. Um, my job basically assigned me home and then I got laid off and then I got a job where I could work from home for like about a year and a half up until like last Christmas. And since last Christmas basically, I've been doing my social media full time and I love it and I get to be a full-time mom, full-time stay-at-home wife, mom, all the things and I absolutely love it. It's living my best life. You know, so yeah. Anyway, so I don't even complain about that. I love it, actually. I do love it. When I had to be at work or I was dreading that I left work 5 minutes late, it was a nightmare because I was always worried about, time. But now, girl, time is just time what? Other than, you know what I mean, the obvious, but yeah, I pretty much I have my whole day, so I'm just, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, thank you, India. I worked hard for it. It's no, and obviously there's sacrifices with that. But at the end of the day, I so appreciate it. But anyway, enough about me. Um, no, no, Jay. I've always been a domestic goddess. I've always loved cooking and doing all the things, but definitely now since I really get to stay at home and my day is my day, I do get to get into more of like cooking and doing all the stuff that I like to do. Yes, I was missing so much. I'm so thankful for the pandemic because I've been home ever since. Love being here with my son. Yeah, it allows you. I don't know. I really was never one of these women who really stepped into masculinity forcefully because of the workplace, but to me I I I happen to be in a part of the house where and I mean in terms of the corporate side where women were very very competitive and aggressive and I am so grateful and thankful to not have to cross paths with any of those people, any of those types of people anymore, because I think that money and promotion and jockeying for position and politicking And all of that stuff that happens at work, I can do without. I can so do without it. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to deal with people that I would never want to be friends with anyway. Um, that I don't have to deal with them. I don't have to pretend to want to go to business after hours with you. I don't have to pretend to want to go to the company event with you. I don't want to have to pretend to be happy that my cubicle is next to yours. I'm glad that I don't have to pretend anymore to like your ugly outfit. I don't care. I'm so happy that I am so free from all of that phony life of having to come into work and just pretend for 8 to 10 hours. I am so grateful. There is no amount of money that would make me want to do that again, only if I absolutely had to. And number one, it would have to be from home. It would like be pulling my two front teeth if all of a sudden I had to start picking out outfits to be at work on Monday morning and to go to be like in a meeting or have to deal with re- just awful people, just awful, awful people. Um, and you guys know I am brutally honest and I'm super duper helpful, believe it or not. That might not be something that I get to demonstrate a lot on the YouTube streets. Is my desire to be helpful, but that's just something that I get very honest. And I feel like some of the very competitive women that I interacted with over my career would find that to be threatening, especially when you become a resource to other people. And rather than looking at it as an asset, they feel very threatened by it, and it did me no good. I worked with many, many, many Karens, and I survived a long time, and I did quite well. But I'm so glad I'm out of it. I'm not. I don't miss it a bit. I don't miss it at all. So yeah. Anyway, let me see. Someone must not have liked my speech because hold on, let me check this out. Oh, I did. I thought I lost a subscriber, but I actually gained three. Okay, thank you. I was like, ooh, somebody must not be liking this little corporate America speech. But you know what? Look, Shirley is, I think some of this Shirley conversation triggers some of this conversation for us. And this is definitely a safe place to talk about work. I spent over 25 years in human resources, specifically. My last 15 years were all in talent acquisition. Um, from executive to supporting senior management and placing high level staff and building out centers, like building out large um not so much call centers but data centers, things of that nature. And I'm a very good judge of kind of like skills and abilities because that's what I did for 25 years basically. Talent acquisition and interviewing and making assessments and all of those kinds of things. So um but yeah, I'm so glad to be out of it. But as far as this being kind of like, I feel like it does trigger a lot in people because women do have to work so hard, especially as a mother. And then if you're a wife, if you have a partner at the house, it is definitely a luxury to be someone who is high performing in what you're doing and be able to come home and just do for yourself, believe it or not. I think it's a lot easier to be single and working at a high level because you don't have to worry about anybody else but you. Okay. When you have to come home, worry about your kid, get your kid from A to B, support your kid, be there for your kid, but also you want to make money. And then also you throw in a partner, a spouse, or you're on a certain trajectory. It's quite demanding. It's very, very much demanding. And it's hard. And you have to make certain choices. And I do believe that this conversation is quite interesting to a lot of women because it does touch on that. it touches on a lot of that. That's why I think a lot of people do find it so interesting. It's not just the Ernesto thing and him conning her. It's, sis, what happened to your money? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a little scary for some people. Where's your money? What happened to your career? Why didn't you ever progress? Were you happy staying a sidekick? All of those things. The office politics of Mississippi Monica and Carla, kind of, I don't know if Carla stays to herself or not, but Carla has managed to stay out of this conversation. It's very much a teachable moment. Um, and for Shirley to still be able to be very much relevant. And I don't want to say at her age, because there's some women who come to the comments, they are very much bothered by the age conversation in all of this. But I think the fact that she has been able to coast, but her job is partially entertainment too, so her value doesn't come from like the next person coming in who like the next newest youngest. That whole team is very senior, so they're pretty much a package deal for the most part. That's why I do wonder, is Shirley going to make it? um Boss Taylor, you said putting people in the right places. Absolutely. That's like part of my skill set. But is Shirley going to make it through like the next contract negotiations? But anyway, I was surfing on Fulton County, just kind of like just surfing around, seeing what was what, and I did find something interesting. So I did watch a couple of Fanny videos, or Fani. I watched a couple of Fani videos when she first got installed as the new district attorney. I was kind of tootling around to try to see if I could find ADA Taylor and get a little bit of her background, but I could not seem to find her. And maybe I missed her, but I did find like the DA leadership, Fani to her leadership team, and then to the underling teams. But I don't know if that was the full scope of the teams, because I would imagine the district attorney's office has got to be quite large. And so I think I got to maybe like supervisor level. So I don't know. I just hope ADA Taylor gets it together like for the next performance. I cannot wait. Wow, I caught a live your channel and your commentary. Hi, is it Reggie Moore? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think so too. Too much is coming out about Scumnesto. Bad for business. It is bad for business. So let's look at this. This was on Roswell count. This was on Roswell Police Department, which is going to be no surprise, but I thought it was interesting. And of course, I had to scroll on down to the comments. And I was tempted to reach out to somebody on here. Um, let's look at this real quick. This is kind of just a Friday. What do we know so far? I don't have anything earth shattering to present. I do want to add a footnote to the bankruptcy. I believe that Shirley's bankruptcy, before we get into anything else, was dismissed within the first 2 years. I think in her first year, there were some changes. I'm kind of reading through some documents, but I don't think she finished out the full duration of her bankruptcy, which means I don't think that the whole thing got like discharged. It's showing as dismissed, which may mean that she didn't follow through completely on the payment plan. I don't have all of the documentation to substantiate that. I do see where it is classified as dismissed and not discharged. And a full discharge would mean that she satisfied the terms of the bankruptcy. A dismissal means that there was some sort of a hiccup somewhere and it is not complete. So no surprises there, though. Are there that she would not necessarily fulfill the full letter to what she agreed to, considering that ma'am has a history of uh, you know, financial kerfuffles. Um, so I don't know, but I'm reading through that. Shocking that she wouldn't even finish. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to just add that footnote to the end, kind of on that. that even though it was a chapter 13 and chapter 13s are more so a restructuring payment plan, not a wipe clean, you don't have to pay kind of situation. I think we talked about that before, but I just want to be clear of that because people are like, oh, filing for bankruptcy is her. Absolutely. I mean, some people get so defensive when you're talking about their fave or a topic seems to touch on something that makes them feel uncomfortable. It to me, it's so crazy that there's people out here that it's like you're so uncomfortable, but you seek out the uncomfortable conversations but you choose to come in a negative way and purposefully be disruptive and opposition. It's like, can you just let us live in talking this tea and talking about the mess? Like no one's bothering you at the Thirsty Girls meetup. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't go to the Thirsty Girls meetup and tell them, why don't you stop being thirsty? Why don't you stop being trifling? Why don't you, you know what I mean? Like, why don't you find your own man? I don't go over to those conversations. Why are you coming over to mine? Chronicles did a video today and Dominique's real name was mentioned. Ooh, ooh, uh, ma'am, do tell. I knew there was something with Dominique. Okay, so what's going on? Is that that's not Davielle, is it? Would she have to sell her ring or could she use it to pay off her bills? I don't know. Lisa, I watch Chronicles, but I missed that. Can you hold on cuz I was watching it but I did not make it all the way through. I think Erica King um like she was I think Erica King was she may have she may have impersonated. Okay, Lamont's real name is also hold up. Okay. Which she also this okay. You guys are dropping me. Lamont's real name. Okay, tell me one thing at a time. Who was the person Lisa mentioned? Okay. All right. Shirley was on the edge of disaster. He pushed her over the cliff. Lisa. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. I'm fairly new here, but I love the content. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome. Sure. Okay, I read that one already. Lamont. Okay, his name. Um, she also mentioned Lamont's full government real name. Oh, okay. I don't understand why someone would come to a channel and be isn't it weird? It's okay though. No one's it's not stopping anything. Um, okay, the name she gave was Alicia Alexander or Alasia Alexander. Interesting. I need to watch her full report. Um, okay, Alicia Taylor. Okay. I think I saw her name. So okay, that was her. There's a couple of Taylors in the Fulton County DA's office. Um, there's a couple of Taylors that I saw. Actually, one might be Gwinnett. Um, Lamont. So Lamont is a prison friend as well. Earl Lamont Dunbar. Lamont was there. Hold on. Lamont was there one of the times Ernesto met with the lady. Are you talking about oh, all of this came out in that video? Okay. And I love text you, love being single home. I love that you love I do. I do. I absolutely do. I wish I could, you know, there's some women that I see online who like so gracefully and chicly do the stay-at-home mom thing. I feel like I'm immersed in two channels. I'm not just doing lifestyle. I'm doing this type of content which does require quite a bit of work. I'm doing graphics and artwork and merch and all kinds of stuff, but I'll get there. But yeah, I do. It's fun. It's fun to me. Um, wow. Okay, she chock full a lot. I got to the part where she was talking about where she called the teacher Missy, and she got to the part regarding the motor coach and the front and back door uh entry of Mr. Nesto. And she had talked about the person who wanted to be in the hair business. She just started talking about the teacher. And I don't know. I just kind of was like, oh, okay, I'll get back to this. Chronicle Speaks showed the same video that Pam showed a few weeks ago explaining about SC and Bickham. Dominique was the lady with Ernesto who acted as the assistant and swindled. Okay, so yes, Dominique was definitely, and Dominique, but see, Dre also knew whoever this person, Alicia or Alasia, as Dominique. So that must be like her street name. The case against Nesto named Lamont. What? Lamont pretended to be a lawyer or something. So this is okay. Well, okay. This is a situation. Jones and Jones LLC. I'm gonna look up. Has anyone looked up Alasia Alexander? Um, hold on a second. It's all of a sudden getting dark here. If it starts storming and we lose internet or power, you guys know why. Um, if that happens and I get kicked offline, I'll pick you guys up on my phone and then end it. Um, One thing watching Fanny's or Fonny's video today, what I realized, we already know Sis is not playing, but what we also know is Sis is not playing. I just don't even know how ADA Taylor could show up for work knowing that your boss's boss's boss or your boss's boss comes to eat like that on every day. Like, if I knew that that was going to get back to the boss, yeah, I would never. Like, that was just, I think the fact that cameras in the courtroom, it does make people step up. And thank goodness that there was a reporter in the house, a good internet YouTube reporter, who was catching all of this. And I would hope that she doesn't want to be caught slacking like that again. um I'll share it on my community post. It's a Fulton County video introducing Fanny. I keep saying Fanny as the new district attorney. And then there's like a couple of other videos on the district attorney kind of site of Fulton County. Um Now where is Alasia's so it's Alasia's Alexander. Let me look her up real quick. Wow. So Lamont was part of AL. How did you spell her name? Let me go back. It just like literally all of a sudden got dark. Anybody who's in my area. Um ALAYSIA. What? Does she live in Charlotte? Stop it. No. Okay. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, what? Stop it. Shut your mouth. Girl, no. Who? I'm just kidding. Um, executive assistant freelancer on LinkedIn. Excuse me. Oh, page doesn't exist. That page was taken down. Oh, excuse me. So that page, it looked like she had a LinkedIn page. It no longer exists. Let's see Twitter. Um, huh. Interesting. Okay. Um, I wonder if this is her. Uh, did they say anything like about her? Um, huh. Did she show a picture? She's a real estate agent in Hutto, Texas. Okay, I see on realtor.com. Interesting. So what was the Atlanta tie-in? Was she coming back and forth to Atlanta from time to time? Okay, so that might be some of the tie-ins. So Alasia Hill Alexander. So I wonder, was that some of the tie-in where she knew about contracts and leases because she's a real estate agent? Interesting. Okay. Um, hmm. I've got to go see that. That's so. And did all of this information come from did anyone listen to Chronicle Speaks recent commentary? That's what we're talking about right now, Positively Buzz. I'm gonna have to go take a look at that. So I wonder, did she find this all on the the indictment or the grand jury? Ernesto introduced Dre to his assistant in that video. Ern- Ernest introduced Dre to his assistant in that video. Nicole, which video are you talking about? I felt like there was a video where I heard Dominique's name, but I don't remember seeing Dre, and I'm not sure which video. Did she show that video? I knew it was something with Lamont. He asked too many questions. Um, and then also Lamont would say stuff like, "You talking like, I don't need people thinking that I got something in it. Let me find it." Okay. All right, so look at this. This is old news, but this is still interesting because I'm just going to show you some of the people that commented. Hold on just a second. So Roswell, um, and this of course is when everything went down. Roswell put up a post when they arrested. So Roswell must be like a sleepy little small town out, like in the county, but not in the city. Um, So Roswell police, this was this time last year, right? We're familiar with this press release. The Roswell Police Department has made multiple arrests in an extensive $1 million fraud scheme and is looking for more anticipated victims. In early June this year, Roswell detectives began an investigation into a reported rental fraud at a property in the 900 block of Pine Grove Road. As the investigation progressed, detectives uncovered an expansive fraudulent business scheme that resulted in the arrest of 57-year-old Ernest Williams, aka Nesto, by most associates and victims, as well as 46-year-old Erica King, aka Erica Hughley Rothschild. Both were arrested and booked in the Fulton County Jail on a host of fraud, forgery, and theft charges. While their criminal acts were broad, a large portion of their efforts focused on running shell companies, many devoted to business growth development. This is the press release that they basically put out. Williams and King would draw victims in anticipation of growth of their brands, missions, or life goals and receive significant payments for goods and services that were never provided. Detectives have uncovered over a dozen victims with a combined monetary property loss of $1 million and believe that there is a strong likelihood others have been taken advantage of by Williams and King as well. If you have any additional information, we've seen this before, right? And then there's the anonymous Crime Stoppers line. If anyone, I don't, I would not be surprised if anyone called and said, "Hey, check Ernesto for bigamy." Um, so here's some people commenting, "Wow, I followed this lady King on Instagram. She said she was a graduate from some university and always flashing expensive stuff. Here's another person that said, ask the little snake, where is Lakeisha? I was like, what? Ask the little snake, where is Lakeisha? He and her, I think she may have said, meant to say, he took her to California and left her. Ask him what, what did he do to her? Or let me in there and I will ask him myself. Okay? Right here. Ask the little snake, where is Lakeisha? He took her to California and left her. Ask him what he did to her, or let me in there and I will ask him myself. This person right here says, this is extremely disappointing to see. Wow. Someone put a heart. Girl, I do not know. And then someone said, good job, corporate noob. Any of my Kappas out here? Corporate Noob 85 said, wow, good job. Okay. And Kyle Christopher said LOL. Okay. All right. Look at the other pictures that they posted. A mess. Okay. All right. Then, all right. Okay. So this is Roswell's. Okay. Hold on. All right, guys. Give me just a second. Let me find back Instagram. Okay. Then I was over here. Gosh, it is storming now. I just cannot believe I mean I can believe it, but I'm just kind of surprised that that all of that came out on Chronicle Speaks. Okay. So I was over here on Roswell and just a second. One second. Okay. Roswell police. Okay. Shh. Okay. Shh. I'm sorry, guys. My daughter needed to come ask me a question. As obvious with the shh. Okay. Okay, here we go. Uh okay. So one of the arresting officers, you guys already know, Officer of the Year. So how did Ernesto luck out getting Officer of the Year? Tim Lupo, Officer of the Year. Okay. Um, I don't know, Ernesto lucked out some type of way. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Roswell, I think it's obviously like a small little quiet town outside of Atlanta, but at the end of the day, um, when they decided to do all their nonsense in Roswell, that was probably a big mistake. Okay? That was probably a big mistake because they've got the time to serve up the information to Fulton County to give them what they need. Okay, Chronicle Speak showed the same video Pam showed a few weeks ago explaining that. Okay. Yeah, so okay. So she was reading from those documents, but it never named Lamont. It never named Dominique's true um identity. So I'm just wondering where all that information came from. Is in the Officer Fields. Yes, that's Officer Fields, the one who was doing all of the interviews. And he is the one who's working with he's working with Officer Fields. That's Officer Lupo. So when you see some of the interviews and the police officer who is basically speaking to the case, this is the guy right here. Wow. I'm going to watch Chronicle Speaks. I know her video like literally just came out, so I don't want to play it at this time. Maybe we can look at it tomorrow and listen to some of it. I just don't want to, I don't want to do all that at this minute. And then I do like to find the information for myself just to kind of put my eyeballs on it. Um, I remember one of the calls with Nesto said the same chick from Colorado was causing trouble from California was that's what I was telling you that somebody from old girl called old girl in California. I think initially when everyone heard that, I'm just going to speak for myself. My assumption was, oh, they're talking about they must be talking about the ladies. They must be talking about Shirley and Sonia. And I think that was kind of the obvious low hanging fruit because we didn't know what was going on. They're talking about look, I don't know if they're talking about the criminal enterprise, but old girl in California. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's what we all thought because we didn't know who else did we know? Who else did we know? But now there's so many people, and this is quite an extensive situation. And clearly, stuff was happening in California when clearly Shirley's paycheck was being spent, and she didn't even have enough money to pay her bills. That was a problem. No, I have to shush. When I have an open mic and 700 people listening and I don't know what's getting ready to be said, no, that's a big shush. No, that's going to always be shh. Uh-uh. No, that's yeah, we can't have that. Roswell doesn't play that. Yeah. I don't think Atlanta's playing that now. I think they wanted someone who was going to be tough on crime. And this is a time period in Atlanta where they know that they need to turn some things around quickly because if they don't, you don't want to have you don't want those problems. You know what I mean? So you either make it a place where it's not safe to do business, where people who want to do bad business can't do business comfortably anymore. Because when crime comes to your city, they feel like they can. You know what I'm saying? So I think law enforcement wants Atlanta to be seen as a place that's tough on crime. So don't bring your shenanigans here. Like if you are with the shits, don't bring it here. I think that's what Atlanta is doing by being tough on crime at this point. Who is the girl Lamont claims was lying about? Um, so he said that there was supposed to be somebody who was snitching. I think he was probably talking about Bickham because Bickham was the one because that immediately rolled into the conversation about the lady at Danielle Diamonds, Ty the jeweler. So they were talking about Ty the jeweler, and I think they were talking about there's somebody who's supposed to be a snitch who is giving all or dropping all the tea regarding, something. There's someone who's snitching and someone who's being a hater. Meanwhile, that was someone who wasn't being a hater. That was somebody who was basically wanting their money back. That's the lady who sold her Mercedes and basically bought the motor coach, but he he never intended to give her the motor coach. When he purchased the motor coach, he got it in his name and he was supposed to sign it over and never did. On one of the calls, Lamont mentioned that he was about to go to Cali. Believe him and Nesto were doing some illegal. So yeah, it seems like Lamont is always talking about going to California for what we don't know. Um, Fanny and her top ADA on the Trump cases. The ADA from Tuesday is on the backup. No, what I'm saying is, as far as ADA Taylor, you know, Fanny is the boss. She is the district attorney. And as far as coming to court as unprepared and as wherever ADA Taylor lies in the structure, like knowing that that is either your boss's boss or your boss's boss's boss, I wouldn't like there's no room in that office based on the message that she delivered that they want to lose any cases. If they want people who are guilty of crime in Atlanta, in Fulton County, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I don't doubt that one little bit. She's not playing around. So, someone coming when you have the opportunity to have the quote unquote bad guys, like I think she's expecting her people to show up with what's needed to deliver. They're not trying to hold anybody up falsely, but if you're there for a reason and you are there making Atlanta not a better place, they want you fully prosecuted. You know what I mean? So I think that yeah, I think it's going to be better next time. That's my point. I would hope so, because now that there's a camera in the courtroom, and you never know, sis might have been a little nervous because there was a camera and that, this was going to be reported on somewhere. That makes people feel a little bit different. Um, well, remember Lamont said that he was when Nesto asked him what he was doing, he said he was effing hoes, and he was effing hoes, basically, right? Um Does anyone know the young woman who went to the Greece trip with Nesto and Shirley? He got the young girls in the Instagram live. Is it live scam or Instagram life scam? I'm not sure what that means. Um, it seems like I've heard Dion mention going to California. Yeah, they were going back and I mean, Shirley, I guess, was living in California. And I think maybe they were all going back and forth to California regularly because she had her house, and maybe they hadn't transitioned all the way to Atlanta yet. They were definitely in California. All you have to do is look at his Instagram feed to see that there was he was definitely living some of his life in California. So with Shirley, and so I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Um let's see. Okay. So that was one thing. Do you think the woman that did the January interview with Shirley already, it was February, um, do you think the woman that did the January interview with Shirley already had answers to the questions like, tell me something that no one knows? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, she could have done a pre-interview. Like, say I invited you, Thessie, to interview, and you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. What are the questions gonna be? And I give you the questions like, hey, Thessie, I'm gonna ask you, tell me what it's like, tell me about your home life, tell me about something you're proud of, tell me about da 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 da. And then you guys talk about it for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Um, that doesn't really mean anything. You know what I mean? Like it seems like she's known Shirley for years, right? Um, I don't know what she knew the answers to. I mean, but we know so much more. The woman that she interviewed with may or may not have, know what was going on with Nesto or not. You know what I mean? I don't know. And even if she does, I don't know what it if it's relevant. You know what I mean? Like she may just have been like, you know what, Shirley, I don't care what you're going through. I would love to have you for my podcast because at the end of the day, your career still means something, whether you're in the shits or not. So let's just talk and let's have a good time with it. You know what I mean? She could very well have known all of this was going on, but said, you know what? Let's talk anyway. So I don't know. In, so I don't know. She may or may not have known to your point, and if she did know, she might have still been okay with it. The girl Missy said that he gave her and her son a ride on an ambulance. The girl Missy said that he gave her and her son a ride on the ambulance. And it broke down. That was so funny. Her and her son had to walk home. Okay. Sad thing is that Shirley went from COP, so went from cop to con. It's really crazy. Um, Hold on a second. Okay. I found a list. Franny has her top 88. Okay. When you said Franny, I thought you were talking about me. Not that anyone really calls me Franny, but I think her name is Fanny or Fani. I think it's Fanie. Missy is the one who took her money and her car, that he took her money and her car and they were intimate. Um, have you read any Nesto Barbershop Yelp reviews? There are about 11, mostly negative. People creeped out and dissatisfied with their service. Okay, we'll go look at it. Yes, Fani. Yes. So like Franny, but with no R. That ambulance that was at the house. Yes, on Pine Grove Road. Yes. The ambulance that Shirley took pictures of her candles with. Okay. Um, Hold on a second. Let me read something really quick. Okay, so on September 17th, I guess I don't know, this was 7 o'clock in the morning. This is crazy, but I have a list. You guys are going to be like, what? This list at 7 o'clock in the morning, red flags. I said, okay, Shirley, red flags. He asked her credit, but her background. Okay, he asked her about her credit, but his background never scared her off. 3 jail incidents in 8 years, now a fourth. Evictions, financial problems, behavior. I put behavior, and then I put behavior, laughing immaturely, his intelligence, Shirley blame of a okay. When Shirley said, "Well, you're just a black man in a Bentley." Just kind of, I guess, always pulling the race card. Envy of others. I guess these are surely red flags, like me noticing red flags about this situation, more so like Shirley red flags. This is me like thinking like, okay, these are some weird things that I've started to hear. Envy of others, dislike of Marjorie, the apology, and the divorce proceedings. And I put like 5 question marks. Is her relationship with Steve broken? Is her job in jeopardy? Is Ernesto still married to his first wife? Um, and I was looking at something yesterday and I came across this list and I was like, where has this list been for like a whole entire month? Or I must have just kind of, I guess I was just kind of downloading some thoughts and then I just to get it out of my head and I forgot about it. Are Shirley and Ernesto still in touch? Will she keep her job? State attorney says narrative is 224 pages. His charges are extensive and egregious. She's obviously upset about decisions and she's obviously upset about her decisions and having made financial mistakes. Don't forget how her she viewed her. So this is more so red flags now. The fact that of how she viewed the birth or the pregnancy of her daughter, I guess that didn't register with me because I didn't know that at the time I made this list. And also, it doesn't have as much to do, I guess, with her as a person, yes. But as far as like this crime situation, it just lends to her character as a woman. And I don't think it. I think when the question came up is how do you feel about being a grandmother? I think it came up. I think that Shirley is someone who, even though Shirley does look amazing for her age, I think people always want to say like, "Oh my God, she's 70." I think Shirley has a problem with her age, obviously, right? And I think that when her daughter at her age of still being a teenager got pregnant and Shirley was like, I'm too young to be a grandmother. And I'm thinking to myself, Shirley, you're damn near 60 years old. If you weren't already 60 years old, you're not too young to be a grandmother. Are you kidding me? What you just got married is what your problem is, or so you thought, or so you're leading people to believe. I don't know. I don't think it had anything to do with the grandmother. I think she was embarrassed because she didn't anticipate her teenage daughter getting pregnant right after she got married. And I don't think she liked it very much. I don't think it had anything to do with having a granddaughter. It had more to do with your daughter got knocked up like a year after you got married and you wanted more time to enjoy being married and living la vida loca until rather than having to get your daughter set up to be a woman. That was what your problem was because again, she didn't get pregnant till she was in her 40s, and that's her problem. You know what I'm saying? Like I had my daughter at 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I know what that's like. I focused on my job. I was enjoying my life, enjoying all of the things. So this woman had a whole career, had a kid at 40, and then she's thinking she's too young to be a grandmother. It's like, girl, stop it. You're not too young for nothing at your age, period. Um, I don't know if it's her first marriage. And also, even if it is her first marriage, it's still null and void because he wasn't in a position to marry because he's a whole bigamist, allegedly. Um, I think she was just embarrassed that her teenage daughter got pregnant. Did anyone catch when Shirley was talking to Ernesto that he forgot her for a while and he started talking rubbish and she laughed and said, "Okay, moving on. I wonder what he did to her." I'm not sure what you're talking about. Did anyone catch when Shirley was talking to Ernesto? Are you talking about like the last call or two on phone calls from prison? I'm gonna be honest, I've listened to a lot of calls because I have my own log of these calls, and a lot of these calls are like they're the same call about everything. Get the truck. I think I'm gonna go find somewhere to live, and her trying to encourage him with some fake phony sermonette. So I'm gonna be like the last two calls. Um, I listened I listened half and half. I was doing, like, some other stuff. So, I mean, if it wasn't for, like, the really good editing and, the visuals and stuff like that, I you know what I mean? Like, I've already listened to some of this stuff already. Um, I think that some of the really, really good stuff has already come out, you know? I'm not saying that there's nothing else still like interesting there because the more that stuff happens, the more that we might hear something that means something. But now that the records are being kept, you can't you can put through a records request, but they're not releasing any more records. Yeah, they're not releasing any more records. Let me see. Dear Mrs. Love Lies and Lace Fronts, Cobb County received your open records request on October 18th. You requested the following: any and all documentation of Mr. Williams as he was processed and anything from and anything that came from Fulton County. After a diligent search, our office has located the records which are responsive to your request. However, we have determined that the records request are exempt from disclosure by Georgia law. The records of law enforcement, prosecution, and regulatory agencies in any pending investigation or prosecution of of criminal and unlawful activity and other initial police arrest reports and initial incident reports provided provided, however, that an investigation or prosecution shall no longer deem it pending. So basically, I think they've put like a hold on any of his records right now, because I guess they're in the thick of the investigation, and maybe they found, like, since they are continuing to mention these phone calls, I guess maybe someone is going through the calls now with a fine tooth comb. So whoever has something, and whatever is not had, they're not releasing anything else. Like everything, it's a done data on that. Um, so everything, so I did 3 records requests and everything was denied, and everything was basically denied based on the fact of a current and active investigation and prosecution at this time. Even though it was still the case some months ago, but I guess they put the flag down and said no more. Um, do you know what the deal is with the animal situation? He had photos depicting adolescent females with animals in sexual situations. I'm just going to say it blunt. To Shava. Mhm. It was disgusting. Yep. Okay. So that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Um mhm. What do you think the odds are What do you think the odds are that the next court date will be a closed courtroom? I doubt it. I mean, I'm gonna just say I doubt it. I don't think that anything that got out was bad. I don't think I think that there are some rules that they so for instance with Brian Kohlberger, right? The guy from Idaho, the judge is very specific. I think there might I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I feel like there's one camera, and that one camera is, I think, Sylvia spoke about this. I think there might just be one camera, or if there are multiple cameras in the courtroom, which this might be it, they want to make sure that it's not just positioned on the defendant, and that you're getting a full scope of the courtroom. Obviously not any, in the future, no jury, things like that, but not really just focusing in, um, on one person. I just think that if as long as it's handled, I feel like the way the camera was positioned, it was perfect. I feel like it was not super intrusive at all. I think it should be fine. I think that as long as the business of the state is being handled and justice is being served, um, then that's all the judge has to really be concerned with. If it becomes like a situation where they feel like it's not fair to the defendant, it's a distraction, it's not, for whatever reasons, judges rule to not have cameras in the courtroom. But I feel like what was displayed was professional. It's perfectly fine. So I don't think that there should be a problem unless someone complains. Um, and also that the footage is, um, it would be something that somebody would complain about. So I don't know. I mean, I'm quite sure his lawyer's job is to complain about whatever that gives her client a better chance at making it. But for to me, I think that Miss Hannah has other things to worry about than a camera in the courtroom. That's what I would worry about them finding that blood contract. That's what I would be worried about them finding. I would be more worried about them finding people's DNA in his bag. I would be more concerned about, like, she's got bigger fish to fry and worry about in the discovery rather than what blogger is coming in with a camera, which of course that can be an important issue. However, I wouldn't waste my time on that. That's what I wouldn't be doing. I think it's going to be fine. Some judges don't have YouTube pages and just don't do Zoom and actually do in person hearings to comply with the open access rule. Absolutely. Um, his lawyers seem to be really bothered by the camera. I think a good thing is to have a not, you know what I mean? Like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I think based on, because I've been listening to a lot of the back and forth between, because there is a lawyer for the media in the Koberger situation, because they want to have it closed, but the community does want to have an opportunity to hear. I mean, not only just the families, they want to be able to hear the trial, and I guess they feel like it could be very gruesome. It may not be, you know what I mean? It's gonna be. I mean, what happened in Idaho was horrible, right? Um, so I think a lot of what's happening there could be precedent setting potentially. So it's definitely a very good trial to listen to. Because if they do get to a point where they're not going to allow cameras in the courtroom, I mean, just imagine if we hadn't been able to watch Alex Murdoch, you know what I mean? And all we were able to hear was someone's like secondhand, oh my God, he was crying, he was sniffling, crying, he seemed like this and he seemed like that. I mean, cameras in the courtroom really does help us, but I guess they feel like it can hurt the defendant. I don't know. Um I love the way the judge let him know immediately that she was not here for games, and that crushed his spirit. Well, he should know sitting in the clink for a year plus that it was no games, right? What do you think keeping this? What do you think is keeping this? Well, Shirley's like popular but not popular. Shirley is a very known and well-respected well, not journalist, let's say radio broadcaster. She's like kind of, I don't want to say she's like the Vanna White, but let's just say she's like the Vanna White. She's like the Robin Quivers. Robin Quivers, some people don't even know Robin Quivers' name. The black lady on Howard Stern's show. Oh yeah. Okay. Quietly makes a lot of money and has been, she's a brilliant woman. She's written many books, all of the things. But she is a professional co-hostess, right? Vanna White, lots and lots of money. Vanna is known for being right there next to Pat Sajak, right? So now that Pat Sajak is stepping down or is no more, right? Um, that's what Shirley is known because of Steve. So what do I think? Why do I think? It's because I don't want to say no one cares, but people, like, something happening to Pat Sajak, something happening to Steve, something happening to Howard Stern, Robin Quivers. Not that no people who know and love Robin Quivers, it's a big deal. People in broadcasting, it's a big damn deal. People, in her discipline, it's a huge deal. She's like a rock star in broadcasting. To other people, she's a niche. You know what I mean? She's kind of like a niche fragrance. She's kind of like, top tier, top shelf, right? She's just not known by the masses. Everyone doesn't know Shirley, but a lot of people know Steve Harvey. A lot of people can't stand him, but Steve Harvey is known around the world. He really is. Even though he doesn't seem like it, he really is. And also because Marjorie is somewhat of a socialite as well. She's very much into fashion. He has benefited from having Marjorie on his arm. And Shirley being his co-host, yes, but it's not in the media because I just don't think she's people aren't really checking for her. You know, I know that's kind of like a long answer, but she's just not, you know, she's not Wendy Williams. She is a co-host. It's like if Charlemagne had stayed with Wendy, like back in the day when Charlemagne was interning and kind of working with Wendy, you know, he was working with Wendy all those years ago. And if he hadn't stepped out and left when he did and made the moves he did to get to where he is right now, he might have just been known for being Wendy's, you know what I mean? If Wendy had stayed on the radio, I'm like all of these ifs, but that's my point. Like it's not major news because, and so that's one reason. Number two, Steve may quietly be at cocktail parties and things like that and say, keep my other girl out of it. You know what I mean? Like you know, that's not really news. Why don't you find something else to report on? You know what I mean? Um, or you're in radio. I think the people in Chicago know about her, people in LA, they know her from those radio stations, and then people in her industry know her. Otherwise, I don't think people really know her like that. They either know her from Steve or they know radio. And radio, I don't want to say is a thing of the past, but radio is very different from today than it used to be, right? Excuse me. Oh my god, he thought he was gonna be a reality when he first got in there, he thought that he was gonna shop this story to, like, Bravo. There's so much, like, we've been talking about this for months now. There's, like, so much to talk about on this topic, it's ridiculous. Um, is it Kadada? Oh my god, I love your name. You know, there's, Quincy Jones's daughter's name is Kadada. There's Rashida and Kadada Jones, and, I love that name. Welcome, 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 welcome. Um, so it's Friday night, guys. I think I need to like you guys tell me what you want to talk about. If you guys want to do like a call in back on this topic, a little bit later on tonight, or you want to do a reaction, I can come back tonight on Love Lies and Lace Fronts, my other channel. But I want to do it on a good video. I don't really like it can't be listening to them talk for 45 minutes. I don't have the stamina to listen to Shirley jot down the same notes again. Okay, you need me to call the insurance and take off the Bentley, the Mercedes, and I don't have it. I don't have it in me at all to be nice tonight. Um I just don't. So, oh, you know what would be good? Also, so nasty Nesto was denied bond. He was denied bond, and they're going to be coming back to court again. Audience 40 plus in the Black community knows Shirley. Absolutely, because we all listen to Doug Banks, and Tom Joyner and Steve Harvey. Like radio was like we didn't have iHeartRadio. We have iHeartRadio now, but we didn't have iHeartRadio then. Like the radio was how you found out what was going on. I mean, I grew up like in high school. Well, my brother used to listen to Howard Stern. That's how I started listening to Howard Stern. That's how I knew Robin Quivers. But I listened for years and years and years. Um, and then as far as Wendy Williams, I used to listen to Wendy in the afternoon. Um, And I remember when Charlemagne was on the station in, I believe, was it on, is it was maybe it was syndicated into New York, but she was in Philadelphia at the time. She was like in three markets or something. But I remember listening to Wendy at different times, but I do remember when she was on like after school. because she's a little bit older than me. You know, she's you know how when 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years makes a difference. I don't know. Is she 60 yet? Um, but yeah. Do you guys, any of you guys from New York, remember the quiet storm? Like at 10 or 11 o'clock, and it would sound like it was raining, and the quiet storm would come on. That song, "Quiet Storm." Quiet. I'm sure I'm not even singing it right, but it was like a whole song, and they would go into like the slow jams. And then on Friday and Saturday nights, they would be live at a club. Okay. And then so yeah, I could just I'm not even going to say anything more, but yes, all of that and then some and more. Um I just remember back in the like right after graduating from high school, we went to so like when they had you guys remember like the Stop the Violence with KRS-One and everybody. They had a whole thing at the Apollo Theater, and they had the after party at the rooftop, and it was a skate party at the rooftop after the Apollo. They had like this whole like the Juice Crew All Stars, everybody was there, so like Big Daddy Kane, all these people, right? And then go to the rooftop, and it was a Stop the Violence night, right? And what was his name? There were like two people stopped at the doors, had like big damn hunting knives and stuff. It was crazy. But just well, that whole time was so much fun when you're like navigating around the city. There was no cell phones. It was just like, okay, meet me at 1 o'clock on the corner of da 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 and da da da. Like, and then you would be there, and somehow you would all link up. Everybody would get back home, and it was no problems. And it's just, that was such a interesting time to be able to um be with your friends. We had beepers, yes. The Nextel, yes, we did have beepers. Okay, and they did have the Nextel pagers, yes. So we did have those. I never had a Nextel pager like that. I just had like a regular old pager, but yeah, those were some fun times. Those were some really um the early 90s, very 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 much fun. So um oh my god. Just those were some good times. Anyway, guys, I can come back in a few hours because I just this was kind of going to be somewhat like of a question and answer kind of thing. I don't know if everyone is going out, like what people want to do later, what topic. But if you guys want to do a reaction, um if you guys want to listen to Dr. Derica, she is the one who Ashley Grayson had the murder for hire plot out on TikTok. We can listen to, she put out a statement. Um this was almost like a year ago, but she put out a statement regarding the allegations and the charges. Um, there's a couple different things we could listen to, but you guys let me know. I need to go through and see if there's something that we hadn't talked about. I just hadn't heard anything recently in like the Nesto Shirley videos that made me kind of think like, oh yeah, I want to talk about this, or I kind of put it back down on my list and then we just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, we could do a reaction like a little bit later on, or come back and do it in the morning. Oh, the DJ Envy thing. Yeah, I've been listening to that and I've been following it on the news. Um I did just let me see this real quick. There was the interview that did you guys see that on Instagram? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. I feel like I just saved it, but was this it?
NJ is my partner in New Jersey. He owns over 1,600 units in New Jersey and all throughout the country.
Caesar was in prison before.
Caesar was in prison. Caesar was locked up, and he learned how to do real estate in prison.
Wow.
He learned how to do the real estate.
We gotta bring Caesar up here one day.
Yeah, he'd love to do it.
And shout out to my guy, the credit dude, man.
Yeah. So with Caesar, he taught me how to do it the right way. He taught me why he was like, his first thing is, why are you using your money? That's what you mean. He said, you don't use your money, you use other people's money to get these deals. And started teaching me the game of how to do it without using minimum money. And that's what I've been trying to teach people. When I first got into real estate, I called 3 people. I called Clue, I called Fabulous, I called Joe Budden, right? On Desert Storm family. And I said, hey guys, I'm doing real estate. This is something that I think that, you should invest a little bit of money in, try it out, and that way you can do it. Joe Budden told me it was a Ponzi scheme and I was going to go to jail. Fab was like, I'll call you back. And Clue was like, nah, it's not for me. But I tried to teach them how to do it because I wanted my brothers.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we come back. Okay. I just saw that today on it's on site. So yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, there's a couple of news stories. Okay, so we'll do that over on Love Lies and Lace Front. So you guys, like, let's say around like 10 o'clock, because I just need a minute. And then my husband literally just walked in the door. So give me some time and we'll make that happen later on this evening. If you're not subscribed to Love Lies and Lace Fronts, where we do reactions, reviews, and commentary on the YouTube channels you love to watch, get into it. Go ahead, subscribe over there. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be in the chat, because my lives are subscriber only always, unless I forget, but they're always subscriber only. So go ahead, make sure to subscribe so we can get caught up on what's going on over there, because obviously this is a trending story. And DJ Envy has some splaining to do. I know he is trying to handle this the best way he can, but it seems like it's gonna be a problem. It's a little bit of a problem, but he'll get it together. I'm sure he's got a very good lawyer and they're going to work all of it out. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. I will see you guys a little bit later. So make sure I will see you over at my other channel like in a few hours, somewhere like around 10 o'clock or something like that. Okay. All right. Y'all take care. Have a good evening. And I will see you next time I go live. Take care. Bye.